Bhaktivinoda Thakur, Srila Prabhupada used to say that this Hare Krishna movement is Bhaktivinod's movement. So why did he say that? He said, because all the plans for organizing and spreading Krishna consciousness came from Bhaktivinoda Thakur. So he would say, this is Bhaktivinod's movement. Because before Bhaktivinoda Thakur, Gaudiya Vaishnavism was not organized. You know, it was only in India. And it was being practiced many places, in Bengal, in Orissa, Jagannath Puri, and Vrindavan. This is, 400 or 500 years after Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came and went. So Bhaktivinoda Thakur, of course, he was not an ordinary person. In fact, one of the great writers of the time, named Rabindranath Tagore, he gave a title to Bhaktivinoda. He called him the seventh Goswami because of Bhaktivinoda's ability to write. The six Goswamis of Vrindavan, Vande Rupa Sanatano Raghuyago Sri Jiva Gopalako. Bhaktivinoda Thakur wrote also, he wrote over 100 books. I was saying, he was not a renunciant like the six Goswamis of Vrindavan. He was a family man. He had 10 children. And of course, one of them was the illustrious Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, our Srila Prabhupada's Guru Maharaj. So, but Bhaktivinoda Thakur, as a grihastha, raising a family of 10 children, and he had a job, a regular job. He was a high court judge. He was so efficient. While doing all of that, he wrote 100 books, over 100 books, and several books of songs. So, when you look at it, it's like humanly impossible. But he did it. Therefore, he was given the title of the seventh Goswami, although he was Grihastha. So, his example is a shining example how nothing is impossible if one is surrendered to Krishna. Nothing is impossible. You all may have heard the story of our Prabhupada when he wanted to. He was visiting the devotees in the Los Angeles community where his BBT was. And he asked them, how many manuscripts do we have that has not been printed yet? And there was about 17 volumes to be printed. 17. And he asked them, what rate? At what rate are you producing? How long does it take to produce one volume? They said, that'll be 2 months to produce one book from start to finish. And Prabhupada said, I am not encouraged, I am discouraged by you all because you're moving so slow. Look how far ahead I have come. I've gone ahead by 17 volumes, and you are only doing one every 2 months. So he said, I'm not inspired to write anymore. So the devotees who were managing the press, they were they were a little uneasy because how Prabhupada was speaking. He said, so you can only do one book in 2 months? I want all 17 to be done in 2 months. And they were like shocked to hear this request. And the leader of the group, he said, but Prabhupada, that is impossible. What are you asking us to do? Maybe we could double it. We could do 2 books in 2 months. But 17, that is impossible. And Prabhupada looked at him and he said, impossible? That is a word in a fool's dictionary. Prabhupada was quoting Napoleon. Napoleon from France. He made this statement, 100 years ago. He said he was like that. He wanted to go conquering all over the world. And anytime his people would say, he wants to go here, they would say, that is impossible. And he would say, that is a word in a fool's dictionary. So Prabhupada quoted Napoleon and he said, I want all 17 in 2 months, otherwise you're useless. You're useless and you're disqualified from my service. Well, when they heard that, they became really afraid. We don't want to be disqualified from Prabhupada's service. And he's saying you all are useless if you can't do it. So they walked out of the room and they talked amongst themselves. And they knew this. It was a do or die situation. And they came back and they said, okay, Prabhupada, we will do it. We don't know how we will do it, but we will do it. I was living in Los Angeles at the time. So they organized a marathon. Marathon, you know this word? And the devotees were giving up sleep. The artists who were painting, they could not leave the station. They would be painting, the prasadam would be brought to them, they would eat right there. They would sleep right on the ground right there, get up and start painting again. And they weren't allowed to even go to Mangalarti. They just had to paint, because painting is a slow process. You cannot speed it up. You just have to do more, put more hours in. And everybody was working so hard. And it was in this way the Chaitanya Charitamrita came out. So it was a very wonderful historic event. And in Los Angeles, Dwarka, every few days, a new volume would come and they would put it on the altar to offer it to the deities. And then they would mail it off to Prabhupada wherever he was traveling. And he was getting, the books were coming out. And they accomplished it in 2 months. And Prabhupada wrote a letter. He wrote a letter to the community, because it was a community effect. It was a community effort. Those who were directly working on the press, they had the support of the whole community. Everybody was involved. And Prabhupada wrote back saying, by doing this service, bringing out these books, in 2 months, he said, you're all going back to Godhead. So, Bhaktivinoda Thakur, as I said, began, this is his movement, because all the ideas, they're coming from him. He told his son, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati, who was also his successor, to organize. Before him, There was no organization. He was the first one to organize temples and have where brahmacharis were and sannyasis were going out daily to distribute books and preach. So, and Bhaktisiddhanta opened something like 64 temples around India. And he had several, I think 3 newspapers. He even had one that was coming out daily, a daily newspaper coming out. And one politician asked him, how can you publish a newspaper daily about, Krishna consciousness? He couldn't imagine. And Bhaktisiddhanta said, in every major city of the world, they are publishing so many newspapers, which is only broadcasting news of this world. Right? So many newspapers are coming out daily. Here in India, there are so many. In America, there are so many. In England, there are so many. But it's only news of this world, this mortal world. Everything is temporary, and everything is going to the grave. So he said, and this whole material world, with all its universes together, he said, this is only 1/4 of the entire creation of God. Krishna also says this in Bhagavad Gita. Ekam sino stito jagat. He told Arjuna, this is a small thing. The bigger picture, the spiritual world, that's where everything is really happening. So he said,